If you think you're just a person trapped inside your head, living a life separate from the world around you, you're not alone. That illusion? It's one of the most widely believed and deeply destructive ideas in the modern world. Alan Watts didn't just question it, he dismantled it. And by the end of this video, you might not be entirely sure where you end and the universe begins. Stick around till the end. Chapter 6? That one messed with me for days. There's no shortage of spiritual books out there. Most of them sound like they're trying to sell you peace with a smiling face and a perfectly arranged yoga mat. But the book by Alan Watts, it doesn't try to sell you anything. It rips away the very idea that there's something to sell. This book isn't about self-improvement. It's not about achieving some new level of spiritual awareness. It's about reminding you, or maybe unsettling you with the possibility that you are not what you think you are. You're not a separate self in a bag of skin. You are the universe, experiencing itself, temporarily. And yeah, I know, that sounds like a stoner poster, but stick with me. Because once Watts starts pulling the thread, you realize the whole sweater of your identity might be inside out. Part 1. The illusion of the self. So let's start at the root. What is this taboo Watts is talking about? It's the deep, unspoken assumption in Western culture that you are an ego, a conscious mind, a little pilot sitting in the skull, looking out through your eyes, and the world, that's out there. You're in here, separate. But Watts says this entire framing is backwards. We're not in the world. We are the world in human form, not isolated observers, but participants, expressions of a whole. Here's how he puts it. You are something that the whole universe is doing in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing. When I first read that, I had to put the book down, just to stare at the wall and feel weird. It's such a simple sentence, but it flips the entire concept of individuality upside down. You're not in life, you are life. Part 2. The myth of control. One of the more subtle things Watts dismantles is the illusion of control. We're obsessed with the idea that we make choices, that we're rational, independent actors that our conscious mind is the boss. But think about it. Do you decide to grow your hair? Do you control your heartbeat? Number. Those are you just as much as your thoughts are, but they don't ask for your permission. Watts argues that the ego, the I voice, isn't the doer, it's the narrator. It claims credit for what already happened. You do not come into this world, you come out of it, like a leaf from a tree. Reading this, I started seeing myself less like a driver and more like a process. Something unfolding, not lazy, not passive, just part of something far larger than me. Part 3. The fear of letting go. Here's where it gets personal. Letting go of the ego, and even intellectually, is terrifying. Because if I'm not me, then who am I? And if I don't have control, what happens to responsibility, morality, purpose? Watts doesn't dodge this. He says the fear comes from clinging to identity, to control, to separateness. We've been taught that being a separate self is safe, that it gives us order, meaning, direction. But that illusion is exactly what causes our suffering. Once we try to grip life like a possession, we've already lost it. Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. That line? I laughed when I first read it. Then I got quiet. Because, yeah, that's exactly how it feels sometimes. Trying to figure myself out and ending up in loops. Watts says freedom comes not from control, but from surrender. Letting go, not as defeat, but as alignment. Part 4. You are the universe. Okay, here's where it gets really cosmic. Watts insists that you are not a product of the universe. You are the universe. Not symbolically, literally. The atoms in your body, stardust, the thoughts in your head, tiny electrical dances, the self you think you are, a wave in the larger ocean of being, and all of it is connected. Just as the ocean waves, the universe peoples. It's a radical reframing of identity. You're not a lonely mind trapped in skin. You're the whole thing, temporarily playing the part of a person. Once that sinks in, even a mundane walk feels divine. And it makes isolation, fear, alienation, anxiety feel like dreams we forgot to wake up from. Part 5. The trap of duality. Western thinking loves binaries. Self versus other. Good versus evil. Mind versus body. God versus nature. Watts says this is a dangerous oversimplification. In reality, there is no separation. There's no mountain without a valley, no sound without silence, no self without other. Everything exists in relationship. Inside and outside go together. They are two sides of the same coin. You can't have one without the other. So all these labels like me versus you, subject versus object, they're just mental tools, not reality. This hit me hard when I caught myself saying, I need to get in touch with nature. As if I ever left. As if I wasn't nature already. Part 6. The problem with knowing. Now this chapter, this one really shook me. Watts explores the idea that knowing, as in mentally grasping reality, is impossible. You can't observe yourself observing. You can't use the mind to fully explain the mind. Any attempt to grasp reality intellectually is like trying to draw a map of the wind. It'll get close, maybe, but it'll never be the wind. The menu is not the meal. I caught myself realizing how often I live in the menu. Concepts, labels, routines, and miss the actual meal. This wild, chaotic, unspeakable experience of being. Part 7. So what do we do with this? If all this is true, what now? Do we just meditate and dissolve? Watts says no. This isn't about escape. It's about seeing clearly. You still live your life. You still play your roles, but you do it with awareness. You stop taking your mask so seriously. You laugh at the idea that you're in charge of life, and instead you participate in it. Fully, lovingly, fearlessly. This is the real secret of life. To be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now. Reading the book didn't give me answers. It gave me silence, space, a kind of soft inner shake. Not everything has to be figured out. Not every self needs to be defined. Sometimes it's enough to know that you're not separate and that the universe isn't out there. It's right here, breathing, seeing, listening, as you. Just a quick note. This video is meant as an educational summary and personal commentary on Alan Watts' work. If you're interested, I highly recommend reading the full book for the complete experience.